Hello YouTubers, my name is LethalGhost and welcome to the part 2 of hopefully part 2 of the patch notes for the version 1.04 patch for Star Wars Battlefront. If you didn't watch part 1, I'm going to have a card popping up right now and the link will be down in the description to where you can watch that. And again guys, hopefully this is just going to be part 2 of part 2. I'm not anticipating a part 3, but if I get into the habit of talking way too much like I'm doing right now, there might be a part 3, so stick with me. In the last video, I ended talking about how they nerfed the barrage again, which was an absolutely useless nerf, as the barrage is, well, useless. Okay, so moving on, the hero ships and fighter squadron, their overall health has been decreased by 30%. That is a great change. I'm 100% in favor of that. Because during Fighter Squadron, when someone was in a hero ship, unless they were an absolute shit pilot, they could last the entire round. It did not matter if the entire enemy team was shooting at them. They would last the entire round unless they themselves put it into the deck or crashed into something. So that is going to be a welcome change. And then on Celeste, the wonderful turbo laser, one of them has been removed. Apparently it was one that was used for spawn killing. I've played on Celeste a little bit, and I don't think I've actually noticed a spawn killing turbo laser, but they removed it. The one that they did need to remove was the one that's looking right at the uplink on the second set of uplinks. Don't know why they didn't remove that one. Right? Because if the rebels got that uplink armed and they put one person in the turbo laser, you were almost not going to be able to get it disarmed. So that's the one that needed to be removed. As for the one that was spawn killing, why don't you just change the spawns, DICE? Oh yeah, but guess what? They did change the spawns, or rather they didn't change the spawns, they just added additional spawn points. As in the clip, I was having a little bit of difficulty figuring out how to use that ramp. Anyway, they added additional spawn points for Walker Assault and Supremacy and Turning Point on Jakku. Okay, one thing, speaking of Jakku, that really needs to happen. Why have they not added Turning Point to other maps aside from Jakku? Alright, come on, DICE. We've had Jakku for about a month now. Or Turning Point, rather. Why don't we have other maps for Turning Point? Again, I do like Turning Point. I've said many times I like the game mode, but I cannot play it on one map over and over and over again. DICE, get more maps for Turning Point. And now for the last actual positive change. From my perspective anyway. Several instances of rocks that players could get stuck on have been removed. Good job, DICE. Good to see you putting your effort where it's really needed. And with several instances, I want to know how many instances exactly, honestly, because there are millions of places where you get stuck. This was an issue in Battlefield 4, and guess what? It's still an issue in Battlefield 4. And it's an issue in Battlefront. It's always going to be an issue in DICE games. I understand this. But just why are you even making an effort to do that when there are a lot of other things that need to be changed? There have been plenty of WTF changes in every patch, but in this patch especially. I mean, one thing, I'm going to have to go back to this, the nerf of the barrage even further. Look, I don't even use the barrage, I don't like the barrage. You want to know why? Because it's useless. So what does DICE do? They go back and make it even more useless. Yes, it was entirely OP at launch, as was the explosive shot. The explosive shot also got a little bit of a nerf, which I didn't think was necessary now, but at launch it most certainly was. The barrage was way too good at launch, and then they nerfed it into oblivion, and now they're continuing to nerf it. I mean, I don't want them to buff it to where it was at launch, but they need to make it a viable option at least. If you're going to have it in the game, make it viable. And it's really not. But again, if they do buff it, do not buff it too much. Just make it to where it's viable. Alright, now I have about a minute left for the bad things, or else this is going to turn into a part 3. Anyway, the EE3 and the SE14C, their explosive shot damage has been reduced. Why? Why has it been reduced? Again, I didn't really think that that was a problem. I mean, I don't use explosive shot very much anymore, but I did used to use it. And at launch, yes, it was completely OP, but after the last patch, explosive shot was fine. I didn't really think that it was OP anymore. Okay, the cycler rifle bullet drop has been reduced. That is good. That's not a bad thing. The bad thing is the cycler rifle is now a one-shot at close range, which is within 10 meters. Not so much that that's a bad change, it's more of like a, why would you do that change? Because nobody uses the cycler rifle. Yeah, some people do, but the majority of people use the pulse cannon. The pulse cannons, fully charged, will be a one-shot kill at any range. So why are people going to start using... There's no reason to use the cycler rifle over the pulse cannon. Just doesn't make sense, guys. Alright guys, that is it for all the patch notes that I actually care about. We were able to knock it out in 2 parts. It's outstanding. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for watching. Alright, so you guys have heard my opinions on these patch notes. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. What changes do you like? What changes do you completely hate? And what changes do you still want to see? Till next time, guys, shoot straight, check your 6, and stay lethal.